righty, everybody. Welcome. We're going to do another pipeline podcast here. The goal of our podcast, if you guys have been tuning in, is to really just give you the insights and tools to really just smoke the competition, which is what all of pipeline is about. So today we're actually going to talk about how to dominate the top 3 spots in your city. A lot of business owners might struggle with this. They might not know where to look and what direction to go. And this is honestly one of the most important things you can do in a business nowadays, especially if you're trying to generate a steady lead flow. About 90% of people, they're going to go to Google, right? They're going to look up best so-and-so company near me. And this is how you really get yourself into the position to show up in those search results multiple times. So today joining me, I have Dave, one of our top Google Ads specialists. You know him, you love him. Thanks for joining us, Dave. And we also have Belen, who's a superstar account manager. She's got a lot of insights just from a client-facing perspective. So thank you guys for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so just before we dive into things, I wanted to get a little bit more background from you guys. So, Dave, so what specifically do you do here at Mr. Pipeline? And is there anything that, you see gets exciting about the home service business?
I'm sure. Well, as you guys already know, I'm the Google Ads strategist here at Mr. Pipeline. So I create, I manage, I optimize Google Ads campaigns. I also do some of the strategy work, create landing pages and things like that. As far as what excites me with local search, we're in a new age, right? It's 2026 now. AI is all over the place. And we're excited about that, just basically because it makes Google a little bit smarter. So Google used to kind of run on a keyword type of plan where when Google is able to recognize the keyword that you put in the search query, then it's able to show for it. It's able to show your service. But now with AI, Google has gotten way smarter. So now it's basically able to understand behaviors and things like that. So in the context. So that's what I'm excited about.
It's been so cool talking with the ads team too, because there's so many just groundbreaking things that are happening on the platform. A couple of years ago, it was totally different, right? The same strategies that worked in years past just aren't going to get the same results nowadays. So you always have to stay on top of obviously what's going on in the system to really maximize your performance. And then same question to you, Belen, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm happy to be here. So yeah, I'm the account manager here at Mr. Pipeline, which basically means I'm the one working directly with clients every day, making sure their campaigns are actually doing what we promise, being on top of everything, right? And keeping that communication going with clients as well. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, right, is communication. Because in order for a marketing team to really, understand your business and really dive into the results, we have to have that open communication. And honestly, you do amazing at that, Belen. So we appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
So just to go ahead and kick things off. So a lot of people that will reach out to us, one of their main goals is to dominate local search. So that includes things like ads, that includes things like the map section. And then just below that too, where your website really shows up. It's really the things that you have to focus on if you're going to create steady lead streams. And there's so many different, strategies and way that people do this. But especially with AI, that's another key position for a business recommendation. And we're seeing more and more people starting to actually generate leads through these AI sources, even things like ChatGPT, Google Gemini. And these are all new things within the last, year or so. So we're going to go through some things that you can do, some action items, more like a step-by-step guide. So you can even, focus on things that you might be missing or what you need to really be looking for in your business. So what showing up on Google when you do a local search really looks like? So Belen, if I was looking for an HVAC company near me, break down what that Google search looks like. What are the results?
Yeah, so good question, Jacob. So when somebody types in, for example, I don't know, something like gutter company near me, there are basically three sections they're going to see on that page, right? So the very first thing at the top, it is the sponsor ads. That's what Dave is doing for us. That's the paid section. The business is running Google Ads, right? And right below that, you've got what we call the map pack. That's the top three businesses showing with a little map next to them. And honestly, that's the gold zone. That's where you want to be. And then underneath that the map, you've got the regular organic website results, right? So really, you're looking at three different pieces of real estate on that first page. And the businesses that are winning, they're showing up in all three, because the more places you appear, the more trust you're building with that person before they even click, right?
And that's huge. I feel like every business owner at one point in time like goes to Google and they start searching for their business, right? But a lot of times it's a biased result. Like a lot of times you're logged into a Google account, they know that you're the actual owner of that business, or you might be searching from your actual business location. So a lot of times it's skewed. So you really want to get unbiased search results if you're trying to figure out where your company's ranking. So there should be more in-depth tracking metrics when we do that. And then Dave, just to sort of drive things home, why is the map pack why is it so crucial to rank in the map section?
That's a great question. Just like Belden just mentioned, the map pack is the second section that searchers are going to see when they're going on a Google search. And the map pack is basically a deal breaker, right? Because everybody wants to have a business or at least a service that is near them, right? So if you're in, let's say, Tampa, and you're running an HVAC company or a gutter company and somebody's looking for you, you don't want to show up in Miami, right? That makes no sense. So the map pack, that's when the map pack comes in. And there's even a really big stat out there that if you're not really showing on the map pack, you're missing out on 80% of the searches that are out there. So it's very, very important that you show up on that map pack.
Yeah, and then I know from like an ads perspective, like you can show ads above the map section within the actual search results. How do you run ads in the map section? Is there anything that would maybe limit somebody from running ads in the map section? Is there anything you have to specifically have?
Yes, it's another great question. So you definitely need a Google My Business profile, okay? And you have to make sure you set that up correctly with Google, and then you have to link that Google My Business profile to your Google Ads. And as soon as you link that up, it automatically adds you to the map pack. And if you are in a zone where somebody's searching for your service or for your business, they'll show up on there.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people come to us, they're like, oh, I have a service area business, right? They don't have a commercial space. That's really going to limit to what you can do in the map section. Like you can still rank if you have like hundreds and hundreds of reviews and you have a service area, which means that you don't display a physical address, right? If your business is registered on a residential address, you cannot display that on Google. So if you're a business owner and you're looking to really, grow and expand in your area, getting that commercial space with storefront signage is definitely crucial, especially when you're doing like near me search results, because, Google's going to try to showcase their customers, the people that are searching, with the best experience possible. And if they're doing a near me search and you have a physical address, you have that proximity factor, which is going to allow you to really show up in that map section.
Exactly. So, not to cut you off really quick, another big important point is to make sure that you have, like you said, have a physical address. So no PO boxes or no virtual mailboxes either. So you have to have a physical address, and try not to use your house because you don't want to have that information out for the public to see.
Yeah, and then just diving into like Google Ads a little bit further, like what are the different assets that you can run? And by assets, like one of them could be like physical location or things like images, right? What are the different assets that you run in a Google Ads campaign?
Right. So Google used to call them extensions, and now we switched them over to assets, right? And what we're talking about here is our location assets. So you want to make sure that you have your location assets turned on. But again, as soon as you have your Google My Business profile up and you link it to your Google Ads, it'll automatically set up a section where your location assets are now turned on. As soon as that's turned on, or you enable it, you can also pause it if you'd like to. But if you enable it, then that allows you to show up if somebody looks up a gutter installer near me, roof installations near me. Now you start showing up with those kind of searches, which again just improves your conversion rate, improves your ROI, and so forth.
Yeah, and let's just say that, maybe you're newer in business and, you're really focusing on like building your online presence, you're getting the reviews. Let's just say you've got like 30, 40, 50 reviews, which is a great base layer. Um, and you're maybe not showing up in the top 3 map pack, but you can use Google Ads to leverage yourself if you're doing a near me search, and then boom, you're right at the top of the map section. So just think how crucial and important that could be owning a home service business. So let's talk a little bit about optimizing the Google business profile. So this is more like organic side of things. Belen, like what does optimizing a Google business profile really look like?
Yeah, so your Google Business Profile is basically your digital storefront, right? It's free, and most businesses are barely using it, right? So the key for me, like the key elements is like what do I actually need to do is your NAP, right? So your name, address, and phone number, right? It has to be consistent everywhere. Same way on your website, same way on Yelp, same way on your profile. If it's inconsistent, Google gets confused and you lose ranking, right? And then second, I would say categories, and this one is really important. So pick the most specific primary category you can, right? And Google updates this all the time. Like in the gutter industry, for example, for a while you could only list yourself under gutter cleaning, right? Even if installations were your main thing, now there's an actual gutter installation category. So if you set up your profile years ago, um, you never checked it, someone out there is searching for installations and you're not even showing up, right?
Mm.
Because your category is outdated. And the third thing I'm thinking is photos, so real photos, right? Your team, your work, before and after pictures, and no stock images for the Google Business Profile, right? Google can tell, customers can tell,
Mhm.
and it's okay to use stock images for other things, but not for your JVP. And then
Mhm.
weekly posts on your profile as well. Treat those like mini social media updates.
Yeah, so the moral of the story here that I'm getting is it's not like a set it and forget it type of thing. So like if you got verified 3 years ago and then didn't even touch the profile, but you've been getting reviews, it's likely you're missing out on some of these things, right? Google likes activity and then updates, right? So fresh content and images, making weekly posts to your customers, just making sure you have that most specific category. All these things are going to get you towards that top position. And these are things that business owners can just take a look and really see, like put yourself in the customer's shoes and act like you're searching as a customer, like what's setting you apart as from a business that might be competing with. So I know reviews, it's like one of the biggest weapons when it comes to rankings. Like aside from, once you're optimized, the next thing is reviews, one of the things that Google's really considering. So Dave, is there like a certain number of reviews that you should get, or is there like a certain like threshold? Like what's your thought on reviews?
So reviews are, like you said, are super, super important. And but Google doesn't really start to treat you as an authority until you get to about 30 to 500 reviews. That's where
Mhm.
Google is looking for. And then the other thing that they're looking for, like you said, is to automatically and weekly, consistently add reviews. So a lot of
Mhm.
business owners, what they'll do is they'll add a whole bunch of reviews at the beginning, and then they stop adding them, right? So you want to make sure that you're always kind of like adding reviews, and the rule of thumb is at least weekly. Okay. And the other big threshold that you want to hit is so Google also has bots that's crawling the review section. That's how AI has improved, right? So the bots are crawling the review section, and they're looking for those keywords that are important, those high intent search keywords like roof installation, roof installers, HVAC installation, even dentists, right? Like dentists near me, right? So bots are crawling and they're looking for all of these things. When they see those, they rank you a little bit higher, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and like what a golden nugget. If you're going to write something down or take something away from today's podcast, if you have a good relationship with a customer and they just had an outstanding experience working with you, have them write a very specific review, like what services were provided, where were you actually located that you did this service, really written out. That's going to help and pull that content. So when somebody does that search and that has that keyword, you're more likely to rank in the map section. So the words said in a review are definitely very important. And then the next thing, Belen, like after you get a review, what should you do?
Oh, wow. Well, this is a big one. So, great point, guys. But adding on to what Dave just said, getting the reviews is one thing, but responding to them, that's like a non negotiable, right? Good ones, bad ones, all of them. So, for a good review, it's simple. You thank them, right? And as Jacob said, thank them and be like, mention what services you did for this customer. Like, be clear and transparent about that, and that's it. Keep it genuine, right? But for a bad review, this is where most businesses panic, but you've got to reply politely, right? Try to understand why they left it even in public, because you want that customer to feel like, okay, I am being heard, they're not just ignoring me. And that's super important. And here's the thing people don't realize: only the person who left the review can change it. So if you actually go out of your way to make it right, that 1 star can literally turn into a 4 or 5 star review.
Yeah, that's huge, right? Like, don't just stop and sit on your hands if you get a bad review. You got to make it right. Whether it's going back to the customer's house, whether it's giving them a quick phone call, whether it's asking for real feedback, like, hey, this isn't something that normally happens in our business. We're going to take full accountability for this. How can we make it right? Like a lot of times the customer just wants to feel heard when they leave a bad review. And we all know that it's almost easier to get a bad review than a good review, right? Because most people are looking to complain maybe for a service. But don't stop there. Do your best to make it right. Turn that 1, 2, 3 star review into a 4 or 5 star review. I promise it happens more often than you might think. So one of the big things, like I'll talk to a business owner and they're like, Jacob, like I already rank organically in my area. Like we've got a okay revenue stream just from organic search results. Like why would I even need to run ads at this point? And I think, Dave, this is a great question for you. What's the benefit of running ads on top of ranking organically?
Great question. And this part is all about what we call authority, trust, and basically real estate. So what it is you want to make sure that you show as an authority figure when anybody's searching for you, right? And you also want to make sure that you also show trust. You display trust, and you want to take up as much real estate as possible. And I'm going to explain what those things mean. So basically, the authority figure is kind of like look at Nike, for example, right? Nike is a really popular company. Everybody knows who they are. Yet, if you search for anything Nike, so Nike shoes, basketball shoes, anything like that, you'll also see at the top that Nike's also running ads, right? Well, you can ask yourself, why is Nike running ads? They're already doing really well. Everybody knows who they are. They're doing really good organically. Why are they running ads? That's because they want to show that authority figure. They want to make sure that that trust level is really high. And also, mainly, is they want to take up as much real estate as possible. So when you go on that page, they want you to make sure that you see Nike everywhere. So you see them at the top, you see them in the map section, and you also see them as an organic a lead at the bottom of the page. And that's basically why you want to make sure you're running ads. Like most people, when they're searching for things, especially new customers now in the AI age, anybody can just create a new website or even a new landing page with all the AI stuff that is out. So now people are really looking for trust, and they're looking for companies that they know are real companies, and you didn't just start your company yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? And you don't want to miss out on these opportunities because you could be dominating organic search results, and sure, that's a solid revenue stream. I think it's so important. But at the same time, if your competitor's running an ad, they're going to show up above you. They're going to be the first piece of real estate. So you really just don't want to miss out and let your competitors sort of cannibalize, the hard work you've done. with things like SEO, ranking in those top positions. You really get the most benefit when you combine the two together and just hone in on the amount of real estate that you can really take in when somebody's doing a Google search. So yeah, if Google's recommending you organically and you're running ads with enticing headlines, they're probably going to gravitate towards you just because they're seeing you so many times, right? It's almost as if they're familiar with the business already. So I know like location assets with Google Ads are definitely important. So like pairing that with, ranking in the map section, 2 pieces of real estate just on maps alone, that gold zone that Belen was talking about. And then ads will actually give you authority, right? Because if, let's just say somebody's searching for like gutter company near me, somebody's a little bit closer in proximity, so maybe they're 1 position ahead of you. But if you're running those ads, you dominate that very first position. So boom, right there, you've capitalized on that opportunity. So I know with Google Ads, right, budgeting and target locations are definitely one of the most important things. Like, is there a key to setting the right budget with Google Ads, Dave?
Well, your best bet here will be to start running the ads and look for the cost per click, right? The cost per click is going to tell you everything. So I would say usually what we do is we kind of set a lower cost per click just so, because Google is going to try to spend as much money as possible. And depending on if you're using phrase match, exact match, or broad match keywords, Google could be trying to spend more money and add a lot of irrelevant searches to your campaign. So you want to make sure that you're targeting relevant searches, which this is going to be closer to your exact match, your phrase match, and then watch the cost per click, right? And then the other rule of thumb is you want to make sure to have at least 5 to 10 clicks per day. So that'll tell you how much really your budget could be. So if your cost per click is around, I don't know, maybe $5 per click, and you're trying to average at least 10 clicks per day, that'll be 50 a day, and then so forth.
Yeah, and whenever we do like a strategy call, like this is the biggest focus, right? We're diving into the local market. We're finding an estimated cost per click or like an average cost per click before the campaign even starts. And then at that point, we're saying, okay, how many leads are you looking to generate in a monthly period? Then based off of that, based off of an average conversion rate, we can set a budget that's going to set you guys up for success. And then even further, like once that campaign's running, we've got the conversion rate where we want it at. You can really maximize the budget just by asking us a quick question. Hey, I wanted to add 10 more jobs to my monthly calendar. How do we go ahead and do that? And then boom, we've got all the metrics. We can make an informed decision. We're not like shooting blind here, right? Everything is very technical and it's all based on the numbers.
There you go.
So I think the biggest takeaway too is like, if you're going to run a Google Ads campaign, you're not like dipping your toes in the water. We're not here to just like, oh, we're going to test out a little budget, because you're not going to see the results that you want to see in the first place. So you're really cutting yourself off at the heel if you're not setting a budget that sets you up for success as a business owner. So you have to have something that's sustainable. Like Dave said, at least 5 to 10 clicks per day. Google likes that activity. They tend to actually prioritize those that have larger budgets because you can show up more often, right? And then, Belen, from the account management perspective, I know there's like a learning curve and there's definitely expectations to be set when it comes to running Google Ads. So like if a new client comes on board, like, how fast can they expect to really get through that learning phase? Or like, what do you typically see?
Jacob, this is a great question. This is something we deal with all the time, like literally. New clients come on board and they're expecting leads the first week, right? And we get it. Like they're spending money, they want to see results immediately. But as you guys said, there's a learning phase. Google needs time. And this can take up to 30 to 45 days even. Like after that learning phase, that's when we start to really analyze, like Dave said, which keywords are working, which ones aren't, if we need to increase the budget a bit. But that only comes, and I really want to emphasize this comes from good communication between us and the client, right? If the client started and there's no communication in that first or second month, it's very hard that we know what's happening on their side as well, right? If they're converting, how are they doing? So and this, honestly, a long extensive call isn't necessary here. Like just a quick check-in, like once a week, or I don't know, twice a week, something like, hey, leads are slowing down this week, or leads are great this week. That alone really helps us optimize from there. And I have a real good example here. I want to share with you guys. This is a real story. So Benchmark Quality Gutters, they came on board about 2 years ago. And shout out to Chris, who was actually on the podcast with us last podcast. So, but the honest part is, the first time they came on, things didn't turn out the way we wanted, right? So results weren't coming in as fast as they were expecting. And on top of that, our communication wasn't as fluent as it is now, right? Um, so after a couple of months, they decided to offboard. And that could have been the end of the story, but a few months later, they came back. They came back with a completely different energy and more patience, like definitely, right? Um, so they were communicating with us every single week, like how many leads they were getting, what was working, what wasn't. We were optimizing from there. So they were patient with the learning phase. They gave it time, the time it needed, and now they're doing great.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah,
wanted
Chris, literally, like, what a success story. Like this, he was going from, I think it was like $15,000-$20,000 a month in revenue, which is, sure, that's a great base starting point. But now he's doing $60,000 to $80,000 per month. So really think about that as a business owner. Is it worth giving it a month or two to complete that learning phase, to increase your revenue by potentially like 50, 60, 70, even 80%? Like, this is huge margins, right? Especially if we're talking like Chris does gutters, right? His average ticket is a couple $1,000s. Like, that's huge. And you really do want every lead. And just know, when Belen says the check-ins, right? A lot of marketing companies, like, they'll just say, oh, here's your leads, and then that's it. You get what you get, right? But when we have that communication, it's like, hey, Belen, this lead closed. I'm getting great feedback off of this service. Let's hone in and dial it in from there. It's like, boom, we can make our optimizations that much more effective if we get that proper feedback. So that's why communication is crucial. And you will receive leads during the learning phase. Don't think you're not going to. It's just there's no shortcut to the top. You can't launch a campaign and then get every lead for somebody searching for your service. Google needs time to understand who your ideal customer is. And that's one of the biggest things. It's a momentum-based system. We cannot emphasize that enough. You got to give it time. There's a lot of things that factor where you rank online. There's things like building your local citations, which is what Belen was talking about, keeping consistent name, address, phone number everywhere online, which includes things like, Angie's List, Home Advisor, Thumbtack is another big one that people are getting some good leads, depending on the industry. But you want to make sure consistency is key. So you can't just create these profiles, update your business address, and then never update them across these old profiles that you created. You have to be up to date and consistent. And as an SEO company as well, it's something that we help you guys with, just optimizing those citations. So are there any good sort of pieces of feedback on local citations, Belen, that you wanted to jump in? I know I touched on a few, but is there anything specifically that might help build trust?
Well, I have one in mind. It's Bing Places. I would say the huge majority of businesses don't have this built out, right? A lot of people, especially older demographics, still use Bing as their default search engine. And here's the part that's really interesting. So Siri and Alexa actually pull from Bing for a lot of the results. So if you're not on Bing, you could be missing voice searches too. That's a whole channel you don't even know you're losing. And building a Bing Places profile is completely free. It's a major credibility signal, and most of your competitors haven't touched it. So I definitely suggest creating a profile there.
And that's the thing. It's like, if your competitors aren't doing this, how much is it going to really take to rank in the top positions of Bing, right? Especially if you have that Bing profile created. Like, that's a whole nother avenue. Sure, it might only count for maybe like 5% to 10% of your lead volume, but those are free leads just from creating a free profile. So like really think about where your business is listed, especially if you're trying to dominate search, because now it's like search everywhere optimization. It's not just one platform, right? Especially with AI coming into place. So that's huge. That's a great point, Belen. So now let's talk about like credibility from other sites. So a lot of people talked about SEO. They might not know much about it. They might have heard the term backlink before. And there's companies out there that sure, they might focus on like backlinking to help build authority. But where are these backlinks coming from? Are they coming from credible sources? Is it just a software that builds thousands of backlinks that hold no credibility? Because not all backlinks are created equal. Some of them can actually hurt your company more than they help. So if it's coming from a site that has high credibility, that's the biggest thing we want to focus on. When we do backlinks, right, we're actually reaching out to local companies in the area that might have some sort of like relevance or authority to help link to your site. That's the best way to do backlinks. There's no real easy way around that. And then Dave, is there any insights that you have towards backlinks? I know Google Ads is your expertise, but I know you work hand in hand with the SEO team as well.
Sure. And I mean, you pretty much kind of hit it up right on the nail. Backlinks are going to be what's going to move the needle in the MacPap section. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you have your backlinks. You want to make sure you have authoritative backlinks and you have credible backlinks. And the top 3 companies that are going to show up in the MacPap section are going to have dozens of backlinks. And like you said, they need to be updated and they need to be credible because they're not all created equal. Another big one is to make sure that you're reaching out, that the SEO team reaches out to the local gym, your local churches, and any of those big, basically like pillars in the community. Because when you have when you have a church in the community or a gym in the community that basically uses you or uses a backlink that points out to you, to your business or your service, that brings that trust, right? Because if you're in a community and most of the people in that community goes to that gym already has that level of trust that they're looking for, that authoritative figure that they're looking for. So if a company like that or a business like that talks about you or even refers you, then that helps your business tremendously. And there's no form of marketing that's better than a referral, right? Especially a referral that's coming from a credible source.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's huge. So like, yeah, focus like, backlinks, make sure just focus on it's quality over quantity, I think is the best way to talk about backlinks, right? It doesn't matter if you have thousands, your competitor has thousands, because likely 999 of them are not good. So yeah, you need to focus on the quality of backlinks that you're actually doing. So I know we talk a lot about like content and community engagement. And it's so important more than ever, right? The types of actual photos, videos, the quality behind them is really going to be crucial for how people like engage with your business, right? If you have a blurry photo of a roof on your website and that's the hero image right at the top that people see, it kind of loses out on some trust. It's like, hey, how much do they really care about things if they're putting blurry images everywhere, right? It's just, it doesn't look professional. So talking just a little bit about social media, if you actually create a social post, let's just say you did something for the community, kind of like the backlink, and it's for like the local church or like maybe like a local school or a fundraiser, and you make a social post about that, tagging that community or tagging whoever you worked with, everybody that now follows that page has a chance of seeing it. So make intentional posts when you're doing social media. Don't like post blindly and don't post just to post, like put some intent behind it. And that's really, really huge because social media, the next generation of home buyers are here, right? Most people are getting their information and it's, believe it or not, social media. So you gotta be dominating social media. A lot of times it's missed more often than we'd like to see. But one of the first things we look at from an account strategist perspective is like, what sort of media and content are you working with? Because Dave, I'm sure you can attest to this. When you build out landing pages, you can see the difference in how those pages turn out if you had to leverage stock images versus like actual professional photos or videos. Like, does that affect conversion rates a lot in your eyes?
Oh man, tremendously. And that's one of our biggest hurdles as Google Ads managers when we're creating a landing page. Because quality of media impacts your performance and your organic rankings greatly, right? So you have to make sure that you're not having any stock images on the picture like Belen talked about earlier, but also the quality of the image. The quality of the image has to be clear. It has to show, if possible, you want to show your employees, or you even want to show maybe some people working on a business or working on a service with your uniform on, right? You want to show your logo if possible, and things like that. And these days, like you mentioned earlier, like our camera, right? Our iPhones takes pictures in 4K, right? So if you just take your time, you make sure you wipe the lens so it's not blurry, and you're not moving your phone, you can take a really, really good image. So like you said earlier, it's all about quality over quantity. So if you want to take your time and you want to make sure that you're showing higher in the map section, or even in the ads section, then Google is going to go through everything, and it's going through your profile. It's looking for even metadata, right? Like you mentioned earlier, when you have an image, especially if it's high quality image, and you put it on the landing page or your website, you want to have metadata attached to it. So tell them where that image was taken from. Also tell that image, also write in the image what the service was. So if the image is of one person cleaning a gutter, for example, you want to attach that metadata to it and say gutter cleaning, and also on Tampa, Florida, for example. That will help you. And when Google is going to go through and looking for those images, they're going to crawl the image as well as the review section, as well as anything else that's on the web page, and then that's going to help you rank a little bit higher. So quality.
I was gonna say it's almost funny. Like most people think of like Google as this like complex system, and yes, it is, of course, right? But you almost have to talk to Google like you're talking to a fifth grader, right? You got to tell it what the picture is. You got to tell it where it was taken. The content around it has to reference
Right.
what that picture is, or else Google just does not understand. We're not there yet. I'm sure there will be a time in the near future where Google can like crawl an image and actually see what it is. But in the meantime, you got to have the metadata. And then speaking of that, like we're talking about like creating a personality around your brand when it's the content that you create, right? That's what people resonate to. We're at a time where people just don't read through things as often as they probably should. They almost want to just like look at something without having to think and then get exactly what they want. So people can tell an AI generated post, right? You can pretty much go to Facebook. We've all seen it, right? It's an AI generated image of a guy with a pressure washer, and the pressure washer is like backwards, and the water's not going in the right direction. He's missing an arm. So you definitely want to stay away from that. That's just simply not credible. AI should be used as a tool. It can help you. It can help you like create the ideas behind the post. It'll help you schedule the posts, right? But it shouldn't be doing everything for you, right? You got to use it as a tool, but you still got to have a personality behind the brand. And then Belen, like, is there anything you want to say about like AI generated content?
I like to add that, as you said, Jacob, AI is a great tool. We use it, right? It helps us create the content faster. It's amazing for speed, right? But it cannot replace your personality, right? So people do business with people they like and trust. It's that simple. And as Dave was mentioning, like something as basic as a before and after picture, for example, from a real job with a short caption in your own words, that is going to perform much better than a fancy, polished AI generated graphic, right? Every time. So that's just, I wanted to mention that, like, you can tell, like, we can tell when it's AI, right? So,
Great
so
point.
And then we were talking a little bit, before the podcast. And one of the things that people love to do is send pictures of the final products. But like, Dave, I know this is like firsthand for you. Like, you can't just have the final product because anybody can pull an image from anywhere. You got to have those before and afters. You got to have the videos. You got to have the step-by-steps to show what you're actually doing, because you can't just have that finished product, because at that point it's like, what did you actually do, right? So
Exactly.
just a
Exactly.
tip for you guys. Get the before and the after, and then throw a video in between. I think you guys will be crushing it.
People want to
There's
see the
software.
process.
Yeah, and there's softwares out there. I'm gonna shout out Company Cam on this one. This is not a sponsored ad, but so Company Cam is actually a platform that you can download on all your employees' phones, where they can take before and afters of the job. They can upload videos. It helps like even put the metadata, things of that nature, within the actual images. So if you guys are looking for a way to systematize the quality of content that you're putting out there, check out Company Cam. I think they're great at what they do, and I would highly recommend them because I know people that use them and they've seen some great success. So I know that's a lot of information to sort of take in, right? We talked about like Google Ads showing up in the map section, how to rank organically, how these all create a marketing system to funnel leads through your business. But now we want to talk about like how we monitor that data, how we analyze it, how do you improve, right? I know at Mr. Pipeline, we have the results dashboard. So Belen, walk us through the results dashboard and what that looks like.
Yeah, Jacob. So every client that comes on board gets access to this, plus a recorded walkthrough, or we'll schedule a call and go through it together. Um, and this is the results dashboard, right? On that dashboard, you can see everything, like the SEO section, the ad section, the website section. All of it is there. There's a rank tracker where you can see each page, each keyword, and exactly where you're ranking, right? And you can also track your analytics, website sessions, how many people are interacting with your Google Business profile, and then all the key metrics, like the key performance indicators, right? It's right there in one place. So, and I can't tell you how many times somebody calls and say like, I'm talking about SEO now, like I want to rank number one on Google, right? But I don't even like they don't even know what SEO is, right? How do I know it's working? Like I started with you guys 5 months ago, and what are you guys doing, right? And that's exactly why the dashboard is so important. So when you pull it up and you see every keyword and where you're ranking in real time, you see it. Like we'll get comments like SEO is not working, and then we pull up the dashboard and show them the keywords that are moving, the positions that are changing, and they go like, oh, okay, so now I'm seeing it, right? That shift is really satisfying. And
Yeah.
also, let me add this, Jacob, like this is really important distinction, like um, because with ads you will get faster results, right? You can start seeing leads. I mean, you can start seeing leads pretty quickly, but with SEO, that's long term,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah, and I think SEO, right? It's like exponential growth. Like there's this like breakthrough moment in SEO where all of a sudden you start hitting the first page of Google, and then your traffic just skyrockets, right? So that's another thing you have to be patient on, right? SEO, there is no shortcut to the top. Like Google Ads, sure, you might start generating leads, maybe the first week or so, but SEO does not work the same, right? And most people know that, right? It's a long game, but the important thing is not being the business owner that just has no idea or trying to search for themselves on Google, trying to figure out where they rank, because it's biased, right? But when you have a dashboard you can log into and know every single keyword, the exact position, not only on like mobile, but on desktop as well. But most people are going to be on mobile devices. And a lot of business owners actually don't know they're almost like two separate search engines. If you're not optimized for mobile, you're probably not showing up in those organic search ranks on mobile devices. So you really got to think about it. You got to track each. Like we live in a mobile first age. You got to be dominating mobile devices. So yeah, just I don't want to go too long here, guys. I think we had a really good conversation. I think there's a lot of action items for you guys to take home for those who tuned in. But if you're going to focus on winning 2026, here's what matters, right? Focus on the quality of content that you're creating. Get reviews consistently, and make sure, if you can, get some keywords in there. Respond to every single review, good or bad. Understand the metrics, why you need certain budgets, how to be successful when you're running ads campaigns, and then building citations everywhere. Don't forget about Bing, like Belen mentioned. That's a literally free leads probably coming through your door that you could be missing out on if you don't have a Bing Places profile. So go and do that today if you do not have one. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. If you have any questions, you can always schedule a free discovery call. We'll give you all the tools to be successful. It's absolutely free to you guys. You can also go to mrpipeline.com, check us out. Belle and Dave, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
We had a good one.
Thank you so much, guys. This was fun.
Thanks, guys.